All right. What's going on, everybody? How we doing? Soccer over there. As always, joined John Nelson, Jason Longshore. Jarrett, he may or may not be coming through here. Yeah, he's in a weird spot right now because Celtic seems to be on like a mission from hell to ruin all things good for the Celtic supporters.
Including their goodwill with the government of Scotland.
Oh, wow.
Yep, there's that.
It's just mind-bending to me. You had a chance for something beyond historic with 10 in a row, and you wreck that. And now it's like, why don't we just burn this whole thing to
Let's wreck everything.
Just wreck it all. We're going to take a vacation.
Today.
We're going to go and we're going to take a trip to the Middle East. We're going to hang out. And then a bunch of us are going to catch COVID. And then we're going to field like a geriatric lineup and not really try that hard. And play a bunch of caveman ball. And then get completely ran off the field by a bunch of like mid to low tier teams. And it's going to be pretty good. I mean, who signs up for that?
No, that's not what soccer's supposed to be.
It's not. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you, Fred. It's mind-bending. How Lennon still has a job is the most insane thing. There's no excuse. You're in the middle of a pandemic. You can just fire somebody and be like, hey, you know what? He made poor choices on behalf of the team and the community and the NIH and whatever. We're going to make a decision and we got to get him out of here. Someone with a little better decision-making capabilities is going to come in here, take his spot. And no, you're not even going to do that. Just let it ride, baby. Just let it ride. It's like, hey, man, you're down pretty big. You want to walk away from the table? Nah, just let it ride.
You want to hear a little bit from you want to hear a little bit from his explosive press conference.
Oh yeah,
today.
Go ahead, let her rip.
It's 42 seconds. We can do this. Thank you to PLZ Soccer on Twitter for just the caption is Neil Lennon blasts the hashtag SNP government, Andy Walker, and the media in an explosive press conference. 42 seconds of Neil Lennon gold. Here you go.
Everybody's negative. The whole squad's negative, bar 2 players. I think that's remarkable. And I think it totally blows out of the water the way the training camp has been portrayed by certain quarters of the media, by certain pundits, and by certain government officials as well. We did not abuse any privilege. We did the right things. We were absolutely, totally professional. We had a little drink in the afternoon on a day off, completely allowed, no law breaking. Yet no, we come back to this barrage of absolute hypocrisy. Everybody.
And he wasn't even done. That was the middle. Here's how he started. He starts by saying, and I'm just gonna read the quotes. We've been held to a far higher standard than any other club. Protocols at different clubs are inconsistent. As soon as Celtic are deemed to do something wrong, bang, you're all wanting blood. It's absolutely scandalous. The fallout from this has been way too much. Aston Villa have shut down. Wraith Rovers, they haven't traveled anywhere. We could have easily have stayed here and had an outbreak, but because our protocols are so good, we've been able to quell that. My apology is to the fans because 13 players and 3 staff had to isolate for 10 days, which is ludicrous. I'm not apologizing for anything else. I'm not apologizing for going out there and training for a week. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. We did everything we possibly could to avoid the damage, and that's when the soundbite started.
Clown show.
Whoa.
He's got to stop. It's ridiculous. More than anything, Neil, just to give you a heads up, because we've been talking a little bit about you too around here. Your team is really bad for what they should be. And somehow you're really arrogant about them being really bad. Like, you have more resources than anybody in your league, yet you put garbage soccer on the field, and now you're getting beat by your rivals because they actually can pay their bills for right now, and hopefully that'll continue. We'll see how long that goes. But they're beating you by actually playing the game in a way that people might want to watch occasionally. And you are trying to take the game back to 1947. And you have too much talent in your team to do this nonsense. And you're arrogant about it. People are calling you out because you're not doing well and you get arrogant. Stop it, man. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing the club. You're embarrassing the league. And now you're attacking the government's policies?
Yeah.
Yes, your players had to quarantine and self-isolate because we're in the midst of a global pandemic, Neil. You might have heard of it. You actually won the title last year because you didn't have to play the rest of the season out because of it. Just saying, my friend. We've talked about you enough. We're not going to continue talking about Neil Lennon.
Not even
No,
with more.
no, he gets no more time. He gets no more time. There was a Liverpool-Manchester United game over the weekend. Boca Juniors won their 70th trophy. Milan is killing it right now. Zlatan's pulling passes out that we've never seen before. And we're starting the show with Neil freaking Lennon.
Because it's so stupid. The level of stupidity. It is like his level of stupidity, the lack of brain cells firing, the density of this man is such that it alters space-time. Like it has its own gravitational pull of stupidity. That's how dumb this is. They're like, what, 21 points down outside of Rangers right now?
It's bad. They got to worry more about finishing second than anything else.
Get into the European theater.
It's absolutely ludicrous to me. Yeah, they are the best funded team in the Scottish Premier League, and you're down 21 points.
Neil gave his rant, and this is what he was greeted with. One guy back there, like, yeah, Neil, you tell him, buddy. Yeah, you told them. Yay.
Too right, mate.
Horrible.
This has been a stick to beat us with these photographs, and it's completely preposterous. No, sir, you are completely preposterous.
Yeah, a foot away from your player, leaning over, talking trash.
They were having
whatever.
a drink in the afternoon. It's all perfectly legal.
We were in our bubble having a beer for a half an hour.
What about Steve? What about Steve in Aberdeen who can't leave his house right now because of the pandemic, right? Is that perfectly within the rules and norms of you just going and picking your whole squad up and flying to the Middle East?
Yeah, it looks really good.
I'm sure Steve. I'm sure Steve and the rest of the good peoples up there can completely get behind it. Anyway, you're right, Jason. It's time to take things in a new direction. We're getting away from that gravitational pull of stupidity. We're not crossing that event horizon, baby. We're going in a new direction.
That's a different kind of GPS, and we need to go a different direction.
We are going, we are altering route. Okay,
I've got something for you.
Let's go.
Okay, so in 3 of the biggest leagues in the world, England, Spain, and Italy. Mm-hmm. England, who are the top 2 teams?
Same city.
Thank you, John, for just jumping ahead in the storyline. Good job there, buddy. Seriously, man? Seriously.
Manchester City, Manchester United. Next.
Just pretend John didn't have anything to say because, he wants to do this. Manchester United, Manchester City. Hey, John! Who are the top 2 teams in Spain there, buddy?
I believe it would be Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid.
Well, it'd be Atletico. Don't say Atletico, or people are going to smack you upside the head.
Atletico Madrid.
Atletico. There's no H.
It's Atletico.
Atletico. Or
Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid.
Yes. Who are the top 2 teams in Italy there, Nick?
AC Milan and Inter Milan.
Which one is the best race?
Ooh,
that's gonna be Italy.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, define best, because I think that
define best.
Well, because I think that in the Prem you're going to have more dance partners outside of the 2 Manchester teams, and that's why I was asking. Because if you're specifically talking about the city and the rivals in each of these leagues, then I think that there are more players in the Prem that could be getting a chance at a championship than in the other two.
Okay.
For Serie A, any team is capable of losing to any team in that table. It's the most mind-bending thing when you look at these squads and you realize that Sassuolo, which is currently ranked 8th, very dangerous team, can take anyone out. You have Juve at 5. They're capable. I mean, they slaughtered Milan the last time they played each other. You have Napoli, who's going out and just drilling folks from time to time, and then looking like they're playing in the Scottish Premier League on other days where they grind out, a team like Cagliari. We may beat you 1-0, but here comes Fiorentina. We're going to drill you like 6-0 and run away with it. It's so dangerous for these teams. Every week you walk in thinking, okay, we could really drop 6 points on a weekend and on a Wednesday. It's not out of the question. I just don't think that parity necessarily exists in England at the moment.
I think in Spain is where it exists the least.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Once you get past, I mean, I don't trust Barcelona really with Atleti and Real Madrid, and I don't necessarily trust Real Madrid that much either, to be perfectly honest. No. You go via Real Sociedad, Sevilla, Granada, Celta. It's your top 8. Celta has had a couple of bad results here in a row, so I don't think it's as much parity there. I think England actually this time around has it. And a lot of people are all in on City winning the title, which is not a crazy thing to say at all. They're on a great run. Manchester United's 2 points ahead of them right now. City's got a game in hand. But Leicester's even with City on points. They've shown that they can play with these guys. Liverpool obviously can play with all of them. Tottenham is right there 4 points off the lead. Everton's 5 points off the lead. We know the talent that Chelsea has if they can put it together on 29 points in 7th. Right. And then it's a little bit of a drop. I think even though Southampton, West Ham are level with Chelsea on points, it feels like there's a gap there in quality. Arsenal has put it together, but are they on that same level? No. I think it's 7 in England that you can have on any given day. Yeah. You can have somebody win. Spain, it feels like a couple. Yeah. Italy, I think I'm with you. It's right there with, 7, 8?
Yeah, I mean, like you're talking at 8 points. 8th place, you're looking at 30 points. Milan at the top with 43. But from Napoli down, you're talking, it's like Napoli has 34 points. They're in 3rd place. So the gap between 4 and 8 is razor thin. Verona sitting there at 9 at 27 points. So all it takes is a couple of your guys to catch COVID, an injury here, and all of a sudden you are not even in contention for the top 4 if you slide the right way. So that's why I think if you talk to any AC Milan fan or Inter fan right now, they're terrified because Milan can beat Inter can beat Juve. Juve now seems like they're falling out of contention, period. Roma is just, for some reason, chugging along inexplicably. They need a lot of talent and help. Napoli, you never know what you're going to get out of them. But if the chips fall right for you, you could run away with this thing. And so that's why, and I know I'm the Serie A focused guy, but it just seems to me like it's the league where there just seems to be a little bit of danger there for everybody. And Milan just ended up with 2 folks getting COVID, and so they're in a bad way. They just signed Mandzukic, thank God. I think we need that help.
Sign Diego Costa next.
There you go.
Hey, I'm not opposed to it. Look, we need a goon. Send somebody out there.
Diego Costa.
Zlatan can play the role of goon just fine when he needs to.
No, because I need him like doing Bruce Lee cross kick passes to dudes, which is the guy. He's just at a different level. Like it's these moments that he has that are just bonkers, where he can still just go, you know what? Hold up, where's the ball? Okay, I got to get over there. Yep, full like.
It's like one of those Matrix moments.
It is. It's like going past a karate class in Ackworth on like a Wednesday at 7 p.m. Like you have that one guy showing off the black belt, and so he's like doing like cross kick. I'm going to bring my foot over your face. Knocks a guy out. Like that's exactly what it looked like. It was really impressive.
Okay, here's a game we're going to play.
All right.
The Twitch pitch has already started it. Bernd Dursberger has started this little game.
All right.
The boldest prediction you can make about these different leagues.
Ooh.
Bernd in England has said that Newcastle will get relegated. They are 7 points clear of safety right now. It's bold. That's
yeah,
bold.
It is.
The bolder take of our friend Bernd is Manchester United will not finish in the top 4.
Well, considering how everybody's compressed, I mean that's you have a bad week here or there. I mean you could have folks with 6-point weeks or that kind of a thing.
What is your English bold take, John?
Let's see. As I sit here and look at the table, you want bold or bolder?
Pick one.
Let's go bolder. I think Leicester does not finish in European places in the Premier League this year.
How bold is that? That's like falling off 3 points. What was the bold take? That Manchester City would be in the top 3?
Yes. No. That Brighton gets relegated and Fulham does not.
That's not that's bolder than Leicester falling out of the European spots, I think.
I think that Scott Parker draws his way out of the relegation scrap. I think that
nobody does that. That doesn't work.
I have to stick with my prediction that I had at the beginning of the year that Graham Potter was going to be the first manager fired. So along that same vein, I think that Brighton is the third team that gets relegated along with West Brom and Sheffield United.
What has Scott Parker's drawing all over the place done for him? Where are they still?
They are 4 points out of the relegation fight right now. I mean,
Yay
they're 4 points.
For your draws. Yay.
Yeah,
good job, Scotty.
Yay. Real exciting stuff.
Actually try to win a game for once, buddy.
Yeah,
maybe you won't be in 18th.
Yeah.
But he's pretty to look at, Jason. Okay? He's pretty to look at, so you got to give him more time.
He's had a good bit of time.
Okay, so
he's
here's the next handful of matches for Fulham. Wednesday, they have Manchester United.
Yeah.
Then they're in the FA Cup. They've got Brighton on the 27th. They've got West Brom on the 30th. And then they've got Leicester February 2nd. I think that the two matches with Brighton and West Brom will be the ones where I think that he'll do more than draw. How about that?
You got to win both of those.
Yes, you do.
You got to win
question.
both if you're going to get out of the spot you're in.
Yep. Because you look at the folks around them, it's, they don't get another matchup like that until late in February with Sheffield United, and they got Crystal Palace the following week. Then it's, heavy-duty competition until Fulham and Burnley, like the third to last week of the year. But Fulham and Newcastle will play in the last day of the regular season.
Oh, wow. It could come down to that. That could be to stay up.
Yep.
That's
Look,
good stuff.
The Cons have to invest. The Cons have to invest.
They did an Urban Meyer.
They did.
Yeah, that's an investment of a different...
Because I'm better than you, and you know it.
They invested in MJF.
They invested in MJF. They've invested in the Inner Circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Eric Redbeard.
They moved their studio south to Miami for the winter.
There you go. So, look, I think... I appreciate that the Con, especially Tony Khan, gets on Twitter and he thanks the fans and he's very engaged. And I appreciate that. I really do. And I love AEW, so, double plus up for him. But at the same time, you can only thank fans on Twitter so much before you have to start saying, you know what, we need to make a serious fiscal investment here. And if we incur the wrath of UEFA for financial fair play violations, it has been shown and proven you can weather that pretty easily. You're not going to Europe anyway, so who cares? Splurge. make a signing here or there, sign some guys out of MLS that can really contribute right away for you, and or here's an idea: call up Newcastle and say, hey, that Miguel Almiron kid that you really don't seem to want to do that terribly much with. How much would it cost to get him over here? I mean, you got to make some moves, but I think they can survive. I think they can get out of the relegation zone.
They got to try to win some games here, though.
They've got
mentality's got to change.
The problem is you got to score, man.
Yeah.
You got to put the ball in the net, and I want to say Newcastle's going to get relegated because I sort of want them to because they make so many stupid decisions.
It's such a disservice to soccer.
It
sorry,
really
Alex
is.
Bassine. We're all very sorry, but yes.
Yes. It's sort of like at Paris Island, they teach you all the things that it takes to survive as a Marine, right? And one of those things is if you're setting an ambush, the last thing you want to do in an ambush is this, right? Scratch your face. You don't want to scratch your face. You don't want to scratch because you give away your position. So my buddy, I went into the buddy program with a guy, and drill instructor's teaching us how to iron. My buddy reaches up and scratches his face. Now, the drill instructor was like from the Bronx. And Sergeant Rodriguez, if you're out there and you're listening, big ups, my man. Big ups. But this guy had a vertical that would make LeBron James look twice because my friend Scott scratches his face and dude jumped over. He cleared 2 rows of recruits and like knife hand chopped Scott right in the throat. Right out. Because he scratched his face. And you know what we learned in that moment?
Don't scratch your face.
Don't scratch your face. Never. No reason ever should you do that in life. And Scott learned a valuable lesson. He never did it again. All the recruits learned it. We had zero trouble with that ever again. And I think at this point, Newcastle needs to get relegated because they need to prove that running a club on the stupid cheap for so long is a disservice to the fans, disservice to the sport, and the
Bruce is a
country
disservice
at large. And that laser disc chucking Yahoo, who I'm really trying to monitor my language right now. That buffoon needs to be chased out of the game entirely. And if relegation does that, I'm sorry, Newcastle, it needs to serve as a lesson to the rest of these bums on this table who are scrapping by. Get out. If you don't want to invest and play ball, get out. If you're not ready to survive something like this, get out. And this isn't just COVID pandemic stoppage. This is long-term bummage. They are career bums, and I'm tired of seeing career bums. Bring back the days when Newcastle, when Tyneside was popping, and that was a dangerous place to go play. Bring that back. That's what I'm waiting on.
All right, Nick, what's your bold Serie A prediction?
My bold Serie A prediction is going to be well, I already said at the beginning of the year that Inter was going to win. I don't think that's any sort of shock right here. I'm going to say that the big shock here is that Juve does not finish in Europe at all.
Ooh.
It's going to be like the first time in almost 2 decades that it happens. They're not finishing in Europe this year.
No European football for Juventus next season.
No European football for Juve. The back line is a disaster zone. Bonucci is just... I've always talked about how this guy is overrated as a defender. He's a fantastic distributor from the back, not a great defender, and it's because they are getting exposed more and more. And God help Chiellini, that poor man. They keep trotting him out, and he got washer machine this past weekend. Just washer machine. Lukaku spun that man around. And it was almost like a 25-year-old playing against a 7-year-old in basketball. Like he just bodied him up, spun, and it was only because Lukaku had to go to ground to recover the ball. And Chiellini's just a brilliant, like he knew exactly where to go. Is the only thing that kept that ball going from the back of the net and making the scoreline worse. I just don't think that team is built up to survive the way they are now. There's too much space between the midfield and the defensive backline. With regularity, they're getting exposed. The attackers are too quick, and they played a stupid game for too long on let's survive on free transfers because everyone else sucks, and which it worked. But now, AC Milan, Inter, they've caught up. and the rest of the league is catching up. As you can see, Juve's in 5th. No, there's no European football for them this year. I'm sorry, it's just not. They played a stupid game for too long, and I'm not saying they need to fire Pirlo at all, but I'm saying that they need to invest in youth talent now and stop being stupid with this and move. And I'm glad Ronaldo said he's going to stay for another year, but if I'm the board, I'm saying, no, you're not. Thank you very much for your services. Be on your way. So it's a completely different team when McKinney's not on the field. That's one thing to say. If there's a bright spot in all this for U.S. men's national team fans, Juve is a full step better when Weston McKennie's on the field because he has the motor and he does a lot of that cleanup between the midfield line and the back line. If for any reason he's not in that starting lineup, they are prone to stupid gaps in the back because Rabiot just shuts off at random moments. He just shuts off and God knows where he is. He goes on a walkabout or whatever. But yeah, that's my scalding hot nuclear take for Serie A. Juve doesn't finish in Europe.
All right, so I guess I have to do the bold take on Spain.
Mm-hmm.
The updated table right now, Atleti has 2 games in hand, and they have a 4-point lead. Real Madrid is second. Barcelona has moved into third. Villarreal is in fourth, 2 points behind Barca. Barca's 7 points off the lead, but Atleti has 2 games in hand. Real Sociedad's come back to earth a little bit, 3 losses in their last 5. They're in fifth. Sevilla's level with them on points. Granada is next. Celta's had their run, but it's really started to fade. The rest of the table's kind of a mishmash. I mean, the top of the table is kind of what it is. I think Atleti's going to win this thing, so there's nothing bold to go with there. I don't even know if it's necessarily bold to say that I don't know if Zinedine Zidane finishes the season. I think he might be gone before the year is out.
By his call or by
the club's call? It could be by mutual consent because, that's the way to do it when you want to be classy and stuff. I think in this case it would be the club's call. I'm going to go with my bold take that I'm going to go a little bit different direction than the bold takes you guys have put on the table. My bold take is that Valencia gets relegated. And this is a big club, or at least they used to be, prestigious club that is broke and has no money. And they're going to be the ones to get relegated, and we might not see them back. Valencia might be like Malaga, and it might be the last time we see a club like Valencia at this stage. I'm worried about them financially. I don't know what the fix is for them at this point. You can change managers. You can do whatever you want with that stuff. I just don't think they're going to have enough money to survive. If they get relegated this year, they might end up like Malaga, where they're in the second, and then they have financial problems, and then they just kind of fade away. They're a huge club.
Right.
A lot of history. They're in a really bad spot.
One of the best logos, too, man.
Yep.
The bat going across the top. Oh, that thing is awesome. Is this a club that you think would be – because we've had American investment in Italy that's kind of spiked up. Do you think this is an opportunity for an American to come in and say, hey, you know what? Maybe –
Okay, you want my – since that's my bold take, you want my absolute fantasy banana pants thing I'd like to see happen?
The banana pants take.
A very rich person who, if I could get lucky and win the lottery, I'd do it. Goes in with a lot of money, buys Valencia, and hires Marcelo Gallardo. And gives him 3 years to build it.
I wonder what the going rate for Valencia would be. What do you think, 50 mil?
Well, you'd have to, and then isn't there a boatload of debt,
There's got to be a boatload of debt. I have no idea what the debt is off the top of my head. That there has to be a good bit of it. But yeah, outright sale before you get into the debt, I'd even maybe go 100 because it's La Liga, because of the potential media shares and stuff like that, because of home games with your Real Madrids and Barcelonas when you have fans back in. Like, I guess the debt looks bad, John.
Yeah.
How much?
Late July, so I guess this would be the end of the last fiscal year, 274 million euro.
I mean that. No, I thought it'd be worse than that. That's actually not as bad as I thought it would be, because in a normally well-run La Liga club like Valencia, if you were to pay, what, 274 is the debt?
274.
If you were to pay 400 million for them, that's not crazy. For a club of Valencia's stature and everything that they could have to work with. So if you buy them and you absorb the debt, that's not ludicrous. That's not nuts. But now the thing is, if they get relegated, then you're talking about buying them on the cheap.
Yep.
Then you're probably getting them for an even better deal. You're going to have to take that debt, but that's fine. I mean, I'm wondering if the guy who's running it now can even keep it going. It might just be taking over rather than buying it.
According to Ace Football, they've yet to still complete construction on their 54,000-seat stadium. It's been an ongoing problem for the last decade.
Yeah, it's a mess, and it's a shame. They're one of those clubs, when we talk about Rocco Camiso going into Florence and buying Fiorentina, Valencia, I think, would be an even better situation like that. A big name, and burned with the question, and yeah, this is where it gets tricky, but I mean, if Germany can do it, you can find a way. Byrne says, can you buy a Spanish club? Aren't they membership clubs? Valencia has somebody who, if he doesn't own them in a normal sense, he owns them in a Red Bull owns Leipzig sense. There's something going on there. Peter Lim, if I remember right, I believe he's Malaysian. It can be
Asian
done.
top entertainment company, OB Entertainment, became official betting partner.
I don't know if La Liga has the kind of like Germany, where a certain percentage of the shares have to be owned by the supporters or members or what have you. But Peter Lim is the guy. So, I mean, they have somebody who's in that kind of role. They just need somebody who actually has money, as opposed to Peter Lim, who seems like doesn't have any.
Yep. Anger at the end of 2019, told by Valencia's fans to get out with their club president, a Singaporean ex-diplomat who Lim had appointed to handle day-to-day running of the six-time champs, apparently receiving death threats.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, it's been bad. They had to sell a bunch of players at the end of last season, and now they probably need to go sell more, and it's not good.
Just in case they are one of those clubs that goes away for a while, their jersey is currently on sale from the site, normally €120, now on sale for €72. If you are so inclined. And very clean Puma kit.
In August, the daughter of Peter Lim, Kim, said on an Instagram post that was later deleted, "Here again, some Valencia fans are scolding and cursing at my family and I. Don't they get it? The club is ours and we can do anything we want with it and no one can say anything," end quote.
I remember that.
Yeah. Whoa! Spicy take on that one. I'm not saying that if I'm her. Are you kidding me? She said we can do anything we want?
Uh-huh.
I remember that one. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No one, anything we want with it and no one can say anything.
I'm not buying jack from you guys. Forget that. I was going to... They have the stadium jersey on sale for $33. I would buy it, but you start popping off at the mouth, that makes me not want to buy your stuff. Exactly why I don't buy any Newcastle gear either.
Poor Newcastle.
I don't buy any Newcastle gear. I don't support foolishness. That is peak foolishness.
Holy. That's no bueno.
Those kits are amazing, too. Very sad.
All right, I'm jumping the gun on the Conca Cinco, but things are not good for our friends in Monterrey. Rayados with 17 cases of COVID. 17 positives. We'd heard about Rogelio Funes Mori, Akeloba, 15 others. Yeah, 17 positives in their testing. I believe that was today.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That is, no.
Welcome.
That's not going to help you.
No. Welcome to 2021 and all the things. so we'll keep an eye on what that means for Liga MX and what they do schedule-wise. John, I don't know, since you were on vacation and such, I don't know if you have a Conca Cinco or if you can...
I do.
Well, then, if you do, then... Why do you dance like that? Like, why? You were, like, pointing at the camera for a second, too. That was really upsetting. Conca Cinco de John Nelson.
See, I now wait to see just how long you're going to hold the note.
I probably could have done better, but I'm a little sick.
But, well, that and you did middays today.
Yes, I did 4 hours on 989 today. Yes.
CONCACAF has announced the 2020 Scotiabank CONCACAF League semifinal between Deportivo Saprissa and Arcaje will now be played on Friday, January 22nd at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 p.m. local. The scheduling change, according to CONCACAF, has been made to ensure that Arcaje has enough time to complete all necessary immigration processes, according to CONCACAF, required prior to traveling from Haiti to Costa Rica. CONCACAF says they're coordinating with both clubs, grateful for the support of the local government authorities and the Football Federation of Costa Rica in this matter. The date of the other semi between Alajuelense and Olympia is set to kick off Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 o'clock local time. Story number 2. We all remember Jeff Lunau, right?
We do?
From his time as general manager, that was a question. From his time as being general manager of the Houston Disastros.
Oh, that guy, yes.
Yes. He is apparently now working with a group that was part and parcel to the Netflix show Club de Cuervos in exploring options to possibly buy a Mexican soccer club. And this is according to our friends at The Athletic. You'll remember that Lunau got fired last January after he was suspended by Major League Baseball for the whole 2020 season for that whole sign stealing thing and the banging of the pots and the garbage cans and smashing of monitors and such.
Just that little thing.
Lunau was actually, and I did not know this, Lunau was born and raised in Mexico City.
Okay.
And so he's been exploring ways to try to get into soccer since he was fired by the Astros. Of course, you might be looking for work, so why not try to figure out how to possibly buy a Mexican soccer club? Initially thought about looking into MLS, but then when the valuations were in the neighborhood of $300 million, he was like, no, maybe I should go someplace else. Liga MX teams typically for their annual revenue, according to The Athletic, are in the neighborhood of about $50 to $60 million. Liga MX teams, as we've talked about here, they have fan bases that are absolutely huge, and you have the TV product here in the States to look at as well. Club de Cuervos, for those who don't know, it was the first Spanish-language original series that Netflix had from 2015 to 2019 around a fictional Mexican soccer club called Cuervos FC. And there was a thought that they could transfer the whole Cuervos FC thing from the TV to the field. In 2019, there were folks who were interested associated with Club de Cuervos and possibly buying Lobos Buap and rebranding them Cuervos Negros, but that got blocked by the Mexican Football Federation. And then they were thinking about maybe starting a team in Mazatlan and stuff like that. So keep an eye on that, where Jeff Lunau might be interested in picking up a team as well.
Keep your hands off Corre Caminos.
There you go. Portland Timbers are looking to acquire Guadalajara outside back Jose Carlos Van Rankin on a one-year loan, according to ESPN's Jesus Bernal. Van Rankin, who plays mainly on the right-hand side, has been in Liga MX for the last 9 years. Pumas, Chivas, Santos Laguna, 10 goals, 10 assists, and 260 appearances. Portland, as we know, because they don't have Marco Farfan anymore, they don't have Jorge Villafana, they did bring in Claudio Bravo. They're looking at Jose Carlos Van Rankin. Monterrey and Santos, speaking of Liga MX, the only two clubs perfect after 2 weeks in the Clausura. León and Pachuca tonight for Monday Night Football. Atletico San Luis, Cruz Azul, and Atlas are 0-2. Most of the games, if you didn't watch match day 2, goalless draws, not a whole lot of goals scored. Santos Laguna did put 2 on the board in their win over Tigres. Mazatlan lost 3-0 to Pumas, but for Pumas, costly price. Juan Ignacio Dineno got injured, although Emmanuel Montejano had a solid debut for Pumas as well. A couple of underdog results. In Guatemala, a surprising result last weekend where Antigua beat Comunicaciones 3-0 and they were a plus 434 in the juice boxes. So Antigua got, for anybody who invested in Antigua over Comunicaciones, you did really well.
If you're betting on Guatemalan football, you have a problem.
And San Carlos won at home in Costa Rica, knocking off our friends at Herediano 2-1. So those are your two underdog results from Conca Cinco this past weekend. And so that, my friends, is another round of Conca Cinco con John Nelson for another week here on Soccer Over There.
All right. You timed it well. Good job.
I love that they're trying to follow the Mighty Ducks thing. We have this really successful entertainment property. We're going to try to move over to the real world. This is our floater to see if it's going to work.
Club de Cuervos.
Why not? The problem is you can't buy like a second division team in Mexico right now because they're not doing promotion. So, I mean, you could, but
yeah, you ain't going nowhere.
You're not going anywhere. Maradona almost got Dorados up into the first division, and then they shut down promotion completely. Very sad. If you didn't
San
see,
Luis has scored, by the way, so it's 1-0.
Yes, if you didn't see the Argentine madness from the weekend, Boca Juniors gave up a goal in the last touch of the game against Bonfield in the final of the Copa Diego Armando Maradona, which they're going to continue to use that name, so it's not even like a special tournament anymore. They're just going to keep using that because it's Argentina, whatever. It's just figured out as you go. But it goes to penalties, no extra time, and Boca ended up winning on penalties. All kinds of craziness. It was the 70th trophy for Boca Juniors in their history. It's not advancing to the Libertadores final, but it is a trophy, and it was one that had a lot of extra meaning for them with the connection to Maradona. Also had a lot of extra connection for Carlos Tevez, who is amazing.
Yes.
Tevez is seriously like the biggest mistake Sir Alex Ferguson ever made. I know a lot of people say it's letting Jaap Stam go when he did. It's letting Carlos Tevez go when he did. That was the heart of that team. You see it now at his age, still doing what he does for Boca. We talked about it on the Power Hour. He was going to go late. He didn't go with the team to San Juan, which is a long way away from Buenos Aires. It's where they had the final for this thing. And he didn't go the day of. Nobody really knew what it was, just said it was a personal matter. He said after the game his father's sick with COVID, and it's really not going well. And they don't know if he's going to make it. He played, he came off the bench in the match, and just like he did in Brazil when the game's 3-0, except this time you're trying to see out a lead, he's throwing himself into tackles. He's doing everything to try to lead the team. And you could see for his teammates what it meant to get that trophy for him. They thought they had blown it. The guys were like basically crying when they're getting ready for penalties. I mean, it was crazy to see. And Tevez stepped up and took the first penalty and nailed it. Just perfect. I think that gave them a boost. So Boca wins that title, and then today, Argentina announced what the format will be for the upcoming year, for this year coming up. And I want MLS to just lean into this stuff and just go nuts. So they're doing another short tournament. You've got teams getting promoted, first off. You've got teams getting promoted from the second division, which is even more insane with the way they're doing it. But you got two teams coming up, so you're going to have 26 teams this year. You're going to divide them into two groups of 13. You're going to play everybody in your group once. So I guess it's random, home away, based off maybe what they've done recently. So 12 games. Then you're going to have one bonus interzonal game, which will be probably whatever rivalries they need to hit. So Boca, River, if they're in different groups, they'll play. They'll sort all that out to make as much money as they can. Then the top four in each of the groups go into a tournament, and they have a quarterfinal, a semifinal, and a final. They have playoffs. That's part of the year. Then the other part of the year, all 26 teams, one table, you play everybody once. So you'll play, if you played them at home in the first short tournament, you'll play them away in the second. Okay? And then that's just a single table, and that goes through. To qualify for the following year's Copa Libertadores and Copa Sudamericana, it is your performance in both combined. So there's like a combined table for it. It's all kinds of ridiculous.
There's going to be a test on this later, right?
Sure, because they'll probably change it by the time we actually get it started in a month. So just be ready for that. That's your wackiness of Argentine football, at the top flight anyway. Right now, you've got all the craziness with the lower divisions having their finals and their tournaments to decide who gets promoted. You've got one team that is going up in Argentina. That part's been decided. The rest of it, between the divisions, and a bunch of this is on TIC. It's kind of random when they throw the different games up from, the fourth division or the third division, and sometimes it'll be the one game to go up. And if that team loses, then they go into some consolation tournament where they can play their way through like 3 or 4 rounds and then get promoted. It's chaos, but you get some wild stories and some wild stuff. Our friends, our namesakes, Club Atletico Atlanta, they advanced. They got completely screwed in all of this. When the pandemic hit, they were leading the season, and in the first division, they finished the season. Second division, they hadn't finished it yet. They were mostly done. Instead of actually finishing it, they just threw it all out and said, no, we're going to, instead of all that like 30 games you played, they don't exist. That didn't happen. We're going to go and you're going to play 5 games or 6 games over here in this, and then you're going to go into a split table, and then you've got to win that and go into a final. But if you don't go into a final, then you go into this crazy convoluted playoff tournament. So they have to keep winning games to go through. They won on penalties. It's wild. It's Argentina. It's funny. It's crazy. It's fun.
I meant to bring this up during our discussion about La Liga. Nathan Pugh says, quite the judo chop by Messi.
Yeah, I mean, he's ticked off. Like, he was injured and probably shouldn't have been in that situation. Kept playing because his team desperately needs him to play. And he's getting a little angry. It was the first time he had been sent off in a senior Barcelona match. That had never happened before. He had been sent off when he was 15 playing for Barca B in the second division, maybe the third division at that time. He's been sent off twice for Argentina, once really early and then once in the Copa America in 2019.
I remember that one.
But, I mean, they conceded. They had a 2-1 lead, and they conceded in the 90th minute, and it goes to extra time, and, yeah, Messi loses his head. Gets sent off right at the end of extra time, and then they lose on penalties. So Athletic Bilbao, Athletic Club, they win the Super Cup. Oh, what's great about Spain, as crazy as Argentina is, Spain has a Super Cup, and they turn it into a tournament, and the 2 teams in the final, they didn't win anything last year.
Nope.
They're the ones in the final. They didn't win anything. So they're in the Super Cup, and they're not super.
They're okay, or they're if they're not super, then I guess they're very good.
Yeah, they were very good. I mean, they weren't okay. They weren't mid-table, but they were just the next teams there.
Like they finished runner-up in the competitions, and then it's like you're a part of this Final Four, and then you get thrown into the pile, and those are the guys that won and got into the
awesome.
Yeah, that
basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the Messi thing, I get where Nathan's going because we make fun of the plucky upstarts all the time, and
as does he. Yes,
how they're the cheery, fun people who suddenly get very angry when things don't go their way, like the humidity, drop gets to about 67%, or the temperature changes. Whatever happens. People do the same thing with Messi, and I get it. The guy. He's not a noted troublemaker, but the man has to keep his cool. I get it. He's undergoing a lot of stressors in his life.
He's got 4 red cards in his life.
But you got it. That doesn't mean that doesn't give you license to do stupid things.
The guy cheap shotted him. He lost his head. It happens.
I know. I'm just saying though. This isn't exactly the best time for if the club is reliant upon you to be their savior, then you must comport yourself accordingly.
Yeah, he didn't get to take a penalty. It wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah. Well, can't be judo chopping folks, Messi. Come on, don't make me.
That was like a roundhouse from all the way back here. He just comes and swats at him from behind.
The other guy should have got sent off too, because the other guy provoked the whole situation and cuts across, and they both should have. I think the other guy was on a yellow as well. They both should have got well, Messi should have got sent off. The other guy should have got a second yellow. Yeah, he was on a yellow. It's whatever. It's not a big deal, but I think it shows the frustration that Messi's dealing with here, and I can't really blame him.
No.
To be perfectly honest.
No, yeah. When you're talking about, again, do I stay at Barcelona? Do I leave Barcelona? And it's not just, am I going to leave the club that I'm with now that pays me ridiculous sums of money? It's the club that I've been at essentially my entire life, effectively. So, yeah, I can understand the stressors that are put on him at the moment. Just don't judo chop people, man. Come on, gotta keep it together. Send one of your goons to do it. Be like, hey, I'm the man who doesn't do this. You do this.
There. You just point. You just go. You there.
That's right. It's like in professional wrestling when you have that one goon in the squad who you're like, when Ric Flair doesn't want to do it, I'm going to send Steve Mongo McMichael into the ring, and he's going to take care of my light work. That's what you need. You need a Steve Mongo McMichael in this case.
Barca
so when Jericho sends in Jake Hager, that's what we're talking about.
That's exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
They don't have a Mongo. Messi's got to take care of it himself. They can't afford a Mongo at this point.
Well, look, you can hire somebody. I'm sure there's somebody in the city of Barcelona.
No money.
Who just sits on the sideline, gunned up. Guy clearly cannot run more than 150 yards, period, and just sits on the sideline in his medium kit. And then they say, "Hey, look, you're going in." And you know exactly what's going to happen. We're about to be down a man, boys. Buckle up.
He waited. He waited until it was about to go to penalties, and then he chopped the guy. It happens. It happens.
Mondays with Reddit.
This one's an interesting one. How much money did Chelsea spend in the last window?
Is it 220?
Somewhere around there, yeah. That sounds about right. I got over 200. I know that much.
It's really stupid.
I'm trying to find it now because Goal.com has their rumors set up, and this was dropped in. Here you go. This is from The Athletic. Goal.com has their rumor collection. Chelsea plotting club record bid for who?
I would say that would be Mr. Haaland.
That would be correct.
Very nice.
Yes. There is a 75 million euro, 91 million US release clause in his contract. That doesn't become active until 2022. So that would mean that Dortmund, if they're going to sell him now, they would say, yeah, you're going to have to pay more than that. Really? I mean, you went out and you got Havertz. You went out and you got Timo Werner. You've spent on all these guys in the attacking six, and you have about 12. And now you're going to go get another one?
Yep.
Because why?
Because you can.
Okay.
You laid out for that one window, then you dropped 220, and you brought in all this offense. And
what's it got you?
Yeah.
Where are you right now? If you are Chelsea and Frank Lampard, you're in 7th.
Uh-huh. So that means that you need to spend more money because you're in 7th, because you need to improve where you are instead of just working with what you have. You need to spend more money because that's the solution.
That's right.
Except goals haven't really been the problem too much.
Jason, you have to understand, when you dig yourself a deep enough hole, the stacks of cash can build you a stairway to get out.
Do they sit in front of the goal and block shots?
Big enough walls of cash can, sure.
I think that might be the strategy here rather than going to buy Haaland, which
right.
When
has Chelsea done anything that remotely resembles common sense direction? Like
before Roman Abramovich was owner?
Yeah.
They didn't have a direction then because nobody knew who they were, John. That's a little harsh.
That's
really harsh.
So here's
they were just a team that was there on some old history, and they weren't really contending for things before Abramovich had it. So let's not play that game that they were this great thing before Abramovich showed up. They were nobody. They were nobody.
We're not going to do that.
They were nobody.
But
Abramovich came in and spent the money, and then they became somebody. I mean, that's
look. They were British. They were the British version of Real Madrid before. We don't necessarily have a style. We don't necessarily have a way of doing things other than buy the best of everything. Yes. That's it. Do you play attacking? Nah, yeah, sometimes. Are you all out defensive? Well, what do? We buy people.
Yeah, that's your MO.
That's it. We just buy everyone.
Yeah, we're gonna. So this way. If we buy everybody, that means you don't have them.
Right.
And that's how we're going to succeed, except when you give up 3 to Manchester City, 3 to Arsenal, 3 to Chelsea, and 2 to Wolves, and you lose to Everton in mid-December 1-0, and you draw Aston Villa, and then you only beat Fulham 1-0, and they were a man down.
Look, Chelsea, it's not a talent issue. Their defense isn't horrible either. Their defense isn't horrible. They've conceded 21 goals in 18 games. That's not horrible. They've scored 33. That's not bad. They might need somebody to put the pieces together. That might be what they need more than anything. They've got plenty of talent. It just doesn't feel like there's a consistent idea of what to do with it.
Yep.
That's becoming more of the issue here. So
why they have not called Allegri yet? Why they have not called Max Allegri yet? And I get it. Yes, after Sarri and Conte, you're like, man, we're done with Italians in West London. We want This is a no Italian zone in West London.
Di Matteo, yeah.
Well, hold up. Di Matteo won a Champions League.
Hold up.
Until he didn't, and then they got rid of him.
What do you mean until he didn't? They fired him. After he won it.
14 managers. Abramovich.
No. Don't dump Di Matteo in there.
No,
don't do that to that guy.
The Champions League with 2. Like he made MacGyver blush with what he did with that roster, and Abramovich still fired him right afterwards.
Yeah.
Why? That's not Di Matteo's fault. That's Roman Abramovich's fault.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Roman Abramovich, regardless of the level of success, has hired 14 managers during his tenure and you can't have any kind of continuity, mental, physical, or otherwise. If you sit there and you're spending $220 large trying to bring in talent, then you're bringing in managers. It's just
settle down, John. You're going to hurt yourself.
Slander on this podcast.
It's Roman Abramovich slander.
I was so angry when they did that.
John. No, I gotta push back on this one. What have you been yelling about since we've been doing a podcast about your beloved Swansea? What have you been yelling at Mindy Kaling about?
No, not spending any money.
Does Roman Abramovich spend money?
Yeah, but he doesn't do it.
No. You can't play the butt game on that. No.
Okay, fine. He doesn't spend it wisely. End of sentence.
I'd honestly disagree with that most of the time. I mean, this past window, he went nuts. Yeah, I mean, they bought whatever they could buy. In general, they've had good teams. I mean, in general, and they've had some good managers in there. I think it's not that he just buys it and fires it and buys it. It's not that. It's he doesn't have patience. One.
No, he's the George Steinbrenner of the Premier League.
Kind of, but the biggest thing that I think he hasn't been able to reconcile, and he tried to do it with Sarri, and he couldn't stick with it. There is no identifiable Chelsea way.
No.
And he said at different points that's what he wants. He wants to do that. He wants a style. He can't stick with it to build one because he's so used to going the easy route with having more talent than a lot of teams. The problem is now those days are gone because Liverpool can spend just as much, if not more, even though they're plucky upstarts.
Yes.
Manchester City can spend more. Manchester United can. I think they're actually maybe trying to put together a coherent strategy of young guys And maybe they'll actually stick with the manager who's got them in first at this point, but who knows? Chelsea can't just outspend everybody anymore.
Nope.
So now you have to lean into developing a style. But you've got to have the patience and understand that the game has changed. It's not 2004 anymore, where you've got a good core of talent. You can go add great pieces on top of it, and you can go get the hottest manager in the world at the time, Jose Mourinho. Brilliant. You came in, you did it. You didn't stick with him. You didn't stick with that idea. Then you just started shifting around. Like whatever manager you could grab, you do this. You go Dutch for a little bit with Hiddink. You go get Carlo. You have Conte in there for a minute. It felt like Sarri was the one where maybe, okay, because he had a way of playing. I mean, Sarri ball is a thing. Like it's right. A real idea here. And, okay, you're going to stick with him and you're going to have something to hang your hat on. And whether it was Abramovich getting antsy, whether it was the media, whether it was the fan base, whatever, you couldn't stick with it. And then you go to Frank, who he might end up being a very good manager, but he's young as a manager, and he's in a really tough spot. I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, we're hard on him, and I think we're harder on him here than people are in England, because of what he did for the national team, his playing career, all that. And I understand it. I get it. He's in a really tough spot. And I mean, we're unfair in how hard we are on him because he is learning on the job. And
are we unfair, though?
Yeah, I mean, we are, because I think we expect him to be at the managerial level of Klopp, of Guardiola. And he's not. Of Rodgers,
because that's what
even.
The job requires, though.
It is. And he did take the job. It is
an unfair expectation.
It's his club. It's hard. No, it's a tough spot. I mean, you take the job, you think you're ready, he's not ready. And now, I mean, look at the managers ahead of him. Ancelotti, Mourinho, Klopp, Rodgers, Guardiola, and Solskjaer. And yeah, Ole's a better manager than Frank right now. He's got more experience. He's handling things better.
If Frank was at Wolves, I would say we're being unfair, but he's not.
No,
Frank,
I'm with you. That's the balance. That's what's hard about this, is we are being hard on him because he's in a hard job. Like, it's a tough job.
Fair.
And that's the expectation. I don't think we're being unfairly hard on him. But yes, the expectations are more there than they would be at West Ham or at Villa or somewhere else. They would. But go ahead.
No, just one of my concerns about Frank Lampard coming into this season was, how do you juggle all of the talent that you have been given with all of these resources and all of this scoring and all of this offense? Thank God you got rid of Kepa and brought in Benjamin Mendy, because that has helped out. You brought in Thiago thinking that he would be a calming influence on the back line. The biggest challenge for me this season for Frank Lampard was, how do you juggle all of this firepower and make sure that you get the guys out there so you can win games, 3-1 or what have you. But that's been the biggest thing for me, is juggling all of this high-priced talent.
I'm not worried about the juggling. I'm worried about the system, because there isn't really one.
In the world of sales, you have people who say, I want the big Fortune 500 sales job. I want to do that. And they get in and they discover they can't swim in those waters. And it's not good or bad. They're just not ready for that kind of work yet. And the commission structure is beautiful, but at the same time, buddy, you have one bad quarter and you're out. They have no room for people to hang on. And it's part of the gig, and you know it when you walk in. Frank has willingly thrown himself with ankle weights into the deep end of the pool. And I don't think that it's and he chose that job.
Here's the one thing I'll say. He took the job, and it was a different job when he took it. I'll tell you why. They did not have the ability to go and get transfers when he took the job. They were going to have to play the kids. They were going to have to develop the kids. Then the transfer ban was overturned.
Yep.
Then it became a different job. The expectations changed. That's the one thing I'll give him in that.
Yeah, no question. Because when he came in, it's like, all right, you had to develop with Mason Mount. You had to develop with all of the younger talent that was there so you could figure out what you had. And he did a good job in developing that younger talent.
You were there to coach those guys. And,
right.
And then it changed when you could go spend all that money.
Yeah.
No, I've been summoned really quick. I'll be right back. And now I'll finish up my Frank. Hold on.
Good timing.
Okay. But no, I mean, you're absolutely right. It was, you were brought in with all of the young talent that was there. And you could see how he was rubbing off on all of that young talent and how they were gelling together as a group and how they were having the success that was anticipated with that. But then you get the transfer ban overturned. Then the window opens all again where you can sit there and spend all of this money. And then you have this clash of ideas where you bring in the high-priced talent, but you had the development of the younger guys. And it's like matter and antimatter. And it's like you have two different ideas. And then they crash against each other, and right now that's what you've got.
Yeah, it's just the job changed, and that part has changed the expectation. I get that. The issue that I have is that he doesn't have consistency in the way he wants his team to play.
Right.
That's the one that is a little strange. That's what I'm not necessarily getting here, and that's what I think should have already happened by now. Go ahead, Nick, when you're ready.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that.
I'll be right back.
Somebody had made a puzzle. They were very proud of the puzzle. I needed to go check out the puzzle. It was superior work, I must say.
Sweet.
Look, I get that Frank took the job when there were not a lot of people out there who probably would have taken a 2-transfer ban gig. Completely justifiable, completely understandable. As a club legend, magnificent work, well done. However, it is more than time to get him out of that role. Max Allegri's out there. He's going to play a very pragmatic style, and that's who you are if you're Chelsea. You play with the talent you have. You play pragmatically. It's where you've had all your success. Not everyone's Ajax. Not everyone is, the invincible Gunners. Not everyone's Barcelona. We all talk about, we want to play like Barcelona. Of course you all want to play like flipping Barcelona, but you don't want to invest the time or the period of, hey, we're not going to be so great right now to get it done. You want wins now. Okay, well, if you want wins now, you're probably not going to end up playing like Barcelona. You're probably going to end up playing like Jose Mourinho or Conte or someone like that, because that's going to get you the results you want. But don't complain that it's boring when you're getting results, because, it's very difficult to build a program these days. So, but Frank's not that guy. Frank's not the guy who's going to build a program, and he's not going to be the guy who's going to get you a metric ton of results, because Chelsea's sitting in 7th right now, and that's not where Chelsea wants to sit. So you have to get him out and call a guy like Max Allegri and just get the deal done. And if Max Allegri takes that job, you understand that you are not going to be there in 2 years, because Roman Abramovich doesn't do that.
He's got to suck it up and do it and allow the time to build a style and build a philosophy, but he's never done it in 16, 17 years now, so is he actually going to change at this point? It's a different situation, and he should, because when he first came in, he didn't have the same competition for dollars that he does now, and he's got to go about it a different way. We'll see if he gets it. We got a little bit of this. Cesar Luis Merlo has tweeted out that Lisandro Lopez, who is currently with Racing, will be coming to Atlanta United. Sources close to the club at Racing say that tomorrow he will announce he is leaving Racing Club, and they confirm that there is already an agreement for a year. And it's a little confusing because Lisandro Lopez is 37, plays up top. He can play on the left side, and in a kind of system that we're talking about under Gabriel Heinze, he could play on the left in a front three. I think he could still handle that at this point. He has been playing consistently in both Libertadores and in the Copa Diego Armando Maradona. This is a player who, if you're not familiar, has spent time a lot of different places. He came up at Racing, went to Porto in 2005, was there through 2009, went to Lyon for 4 years, spent some time in the Middle East, came back to Internacional in Brazil for about a year, and then came back to Racing in January of 2016. Legendary player at Racing, 37. He's not going to be here for very long. But could he come in and be a finishing touch on a team like this? Yeah, he could. You wouldn't be asking him to come in and play every minute of every game. You've got the talent to be able to use him in the big moments that you need him for. He fits the kind of player that you're looking for. And we've talked about this before with Atlanta, and everybody says, okay, well, it's an older player, so they can't sign him. That doesn't fit. I always felt like there would come a time where you would see the right older player and go grab him. And, he's not going to be a designated player. I don't know if he'd even be a TAM player at this point. I don't know what his contract situation is. I would assume that Racing would not be holding him up for a transfer fee here. So if he's coming in on a free, you're probably getting him for a non-TAM deal. You've got the space to do it. And if he's a veteran that, one, is familiar with the way that Gabriel Heinze wants to play, can be a leader in a team that we've talked about needing some leadership, a guy who has been there and done that in some of the biggest places in the world, yeah, it could be the right fit for a year or two. It's all about how it fits. I don't care how old he is. I don't care if he's 37 or 17. If he fits and makes the team better, cool. Ragamuffin, I am not describing anything about Adam John with him. It's a very different kind of player. You need guys everybody's complained about depth. Everybody has complained. See, if Joseph gets hurt, you can't do anything. Well, this would be the kind of player that if Joseph got hurt, okay, he could slide in there. But he could also play on the left with Joseph and with Dom. So let's see. Let's see what's going on. It's a completely different situation, but this is the kind of move you're going to see with a manager in Gabriel Heinze who has come in, done his homework. He knows what worked and didn't work last year. He knows how he wants to play. We were just talking about Lampard for a long time, and Lampard doesn't really have that idea of how he wants to play. Gabriel Heinze absolutely has a very clear idea of how he wants to play. So it's easy for him to say, this is a player that I want to play how I want to play. He will help us be better. And if you can go get him, cool. Let's do it.
Transfermarkt has the contract expiring at the end of June of this year.
They would let him walk for free. If he wanted to go, he's a legend at Racing. They would let him walk for free. They would not hold him until June. They would not ask for a transfer fee if there's not one coming. They would let him walk.
And market value is listed at 1.6 million euro.
Yeah, for a 37-year-old, you're guessing on the market value because I don't know if there is a normal market there.
Right. So
do we have any official time frame of when MLS is starting? There hasn't been anything.
Teams are talking about starting camp January 25th. That's been said. We're seeing, if you follow players on Instagram, you're seeing guys start to head back to the States. Barco, Escobar, both of them have posted from airports that they are heading back. So I believe Giovanni Savarese said they were starting on the 25th. I want to say somebody said the 27th. Atlanta had said the 25th last month. I don't know what the potential CBA issues could be to that. We don't know when the season might start. But from my understanding, everything is pushing forward like it normally would be right now. I do think the start of the season gets pushed back. I do think it will be after that March international break. That's my guess. That's
Right.
my hunch. It could be mid-March, 2 weeks later than we thought it would be. In a normal season, they want to start the first weekend in March. It might be a couple weeks after that.
We're seeing right now with NBA in a non-bubble situation, games are getting postponed. We saw in the NFL regular season, games were being postponed, which causes schedule compression, especially for in a league like MLS. You're going to have schedule compression. The more able bodies I have that can move in and play, the better. And in a salary cap situation, the more able bodies I have that fit under that threshold, by all means. I get it. He's 37 years old. There's a lot of people who are going to be like, we don't need someone of that age bracket coming into the team. I would say that, well, obviously because the idea is we were Atlanta United. When I say we, I mean Atlanta United, that we were a team that would buck the trend on the retirement league. Now, hear me out before we jump in on this. Hold on. Hear me. I already see the look, Jason. Hold on.
Yeah, because I'm like,
whoa.
whoa.
Un momento, per favore. Grazie. So, I understand where people would be pushing back on this. However, I would caution by saying if you look over at AC Milan right now, there's a guy who everyone said was too old to contribute, who came in and has absolutely turned the fortunes around for that club. And he's doing it, and I'm talking about Zlatan Ibrahimovic, of course, and he's coming in and he's providing leadership and he's providing a direction and saying, look, guys, I'm old. I'm at the end of my road. Let me show you how we can get these wins done. And I have no problem if this guy wants to come in here at 37 years old and he can provide leadership, legs off the bench, or heck, if he's good enough to start and contribute, buddy, you're starting and contributing because we're going to need all hands on deck when it starts coming to schedule compression. Mm-hmm. And as long as we're under the cap, baby, it's beautiful. Let's ride. I'm not questioning anybody who's fit and ready to play. I don't care what your age is in this, as long as you have the gears to move as we need you to move to be successful.
This is a luxury pickup. And that's a good thing. Yeah. Like that's a good thing. That you've got your roster in good enough shape with enough depth built in. We've talked about players who are multifunctional, can play different positions. That you've got open spots and you can go get somebody like this because a lot of teams can't afford to. You know, this is why you go get Mikey Ambrose. Mm-hmm. Because you get Mikey Ambrose, he's probably going to be on one of those supplemental spots because that's where he's been salary-wise in his career. A steady hand that you know can cover you at left back. You know he can play the way that you want. You go get him because it doesn't take away a senior roster spot. Because then you can go get a player like this, if this rumor is correct from Cesar Luis Merlo. That's why you can do it, because you've built a team with some space to work with. So, look, it's a move that you're able to do because of having a roster that has the space to do it. If you didn't, if you needed to go get something else to it, and some teams just don't have this luxury. Some teams wouldn't have the space to do it. Atlanta does, it sounds like. We'll have to see how everything shakes out. And he's a player that in a year where you're going to have CONCACAF, you're going to have Open Cup, hopefully at least some form or fashion, and you're going to have a full season, you're going to need that depth.
And if you've got a guy like this, where if you're comfortable with him, if he knows your philosophy, if he knows how you're wired, if he knows what you want, if he's a steady hand, I'll go ahead and use those words again. If he's that steady hand that you're looking for to help you out with all of these different things that you could be facing in the 2021 season, to be able to bring in this kind of an experienced, steady hand to help you out that fits into a space that Gabriel Heinze is looking to fulfill, then rock and roll. Let's go. Let's see what he can do here at 37. I'm all for it. Let's rock and roll.
Before Zlatan, I think I may have been a bit more stubborn about this take and been like, I don't like it. But hey, after seeing not only what he can do on the field, but also from a leadership perspective, I have look, man, I'm sorry, my eyes have been opened. I have I'm not second guessing anyone based on age as long as they can come in and contribute and keep themselves in good enough condition to do so. And I highly doubt that someone like Gabriel Heinze is going to allow anyone who's going to be anything other than a helpful presence into this locker room, especially in the opening moments of his tenure. So I have no problem with it, but I think there will be a bunch of takes that will be like, hey, we don't need someone of this age on the roster. I would just say, look at AC Milan.
Well, look at so many teams like that. Then that's why I wasn't trying to push back on you earlier. My face was about why that's even an issue, because as we've said from day one, you are going to come to a time where the right player who is older is available, and you have the space, and you can make it fit, and you're not asking too much from them.
Right.
You're not asking him to come in. You're not asking him to come in and do what he did when Racing won the title a year ago. Well, a year and a half ago now, 2019, when they won the title over Defensa, the 2018-19 season. Lisandro Lopez played 24 matches that year, scored 17 goals. It's not that long ago. You're not asking him to be that guy. You're asking him to come in. Let's say you get to the semifinals of CONCACAF. Let's say you get to the semifinals of the Open Cup. Let's say you go into the postseason and get through a round. So if you play a normal season, 34 games, you play a couple of playoff games, that's 36. You play a couple of Open Cup games, let's say 3, that's 39. You get further in CONCACAF than you play 6 games there, that's 45.
Right.
You're asking Lopez to come in when Joseph is going to be gone with Venezuela from time to time or come back and need a day off. You're going to have Copa America this summer. You're going to have a Gold Cup this summer. You're going to be missing guys. You're asking Lopez to come in out of 45 games and start 20?
Yeah.
Maybe, and play in 35, 30? That's why you build a roster that has contingencies in it. So if the right player, it's a luxury pickup, you can afford the luxury. It's a good spot to be in. He's available. He is a legend at Racing. They will gladly let him have this time. And this is a kind of move that would absolutely fit with somebody like Gabriel Heinze, who would know all about Lisandro Lopez. They're not that far apart in age, to be perfectly honest, and would know that he can help the club.
And with schedule compression and a rebuilt knee, you don't think they're going to try to spell Joseph Martinez maybe a bit more this year than they would have previously?
Yeah.
Look, man, it's a situation where if you can get this guy on a free, man, you got to make that move. And anything to add that depth, man. Anything to add the depth. So if the deal's done, amen. Good on it.
Merlo is, just in case you don't know, Cesar Luis Merlo is top tier in terms of sourcing, and he's pretty much, he's probably not 100%, but he's pretty close. He's pretty close with this stuff. So tomorrow we will be keeping an eye on media out of Racing and any announcements that he is leaving the club, because they will probably say where he is going at that time, because people will want to know. So be ready for that.
All right. Go ahead, John.
No, we just had a couple of folks who, when they saw this, once again, following Cesar Luis Merlo, were interested and intrigued by it all. They were Kevin from Charlotte was wondering why at the age of 37. We addressed that. And then Carrie Smith on Twitter said, if true, very interesting. And we addressed that too. So folks are keeping an eye on Cesar Luis Merlo and have chimed in on the Twitters.
Gustavo said, bringing Lisandro Lopez is like bringing Enzo Perez or Leandro Poncio from River. People with guts and experience. If you get these players, you're serious about trophies.
See, that's why Gustavo That's why Gustavo's the man. Gustavo chimes in. He always has timely, relevant content. Always brings the heat. Shout out to Gustavo, man.
Look, here's the deal with these kinds of moves, and you can go round and round, and people will have their takes and their narratives on front office and this and that. And of course, I guess this means that Gabriel Heinze is running the front office now because nobody else is doing anything, and
No one's doing anything.
He's got the checkbook now, and he's writing the checks. Which isn't how anything
works. Give this
works.
to me, Arthur. I'll take care of it from here.
Yeah.
You've built a roster to have luxury spots in it. That's big. That is big. And this is a roster that, would you have been okay if you didn't have Alessandro Lopez in it? Yeah, you would have. You would have been turning to not Alessandro Lopez. You would have been turning to younger, maybe more unproven players. All right, now you can turn to a veteran who can come in and no moment's going to be too big for him. So, good spot. Also, in the U.S. Women's Friendly with Colombia that's going on right now, Caterina Macario is about to make her U.S. Women's National Team debut to start the second half. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll keep an eye on this. We'll keep you posted. These are the moves that teams do when they're trying to win trophies.
Yep.
You don't go... You go and you get a player like this for one of two reasons, really. To sell a bunch of shirts, and Lisandro Lopez isn't a guy who's going to sell a bunch of shirts in this country. It is not a knock on him. It's just the facts.
I may buy one.
No, people
the
would,
old people.
yes. But you go and you get a retirement league player. You go and you get them to either sell a bunch of shirts or sell a bunch of tickets or to win trophies.
Right. Exactly.
And this is a win trophies kind of signing.
Yes, which is why we need to, which is exactly why I made the point that I made earlier, because there will be people who say, "Oh, Atlanta United's not about retirement players." But look, it's not. We're not talking about the Hamburglar, somebody who's coming here to collect the check. We're not talking about Matuidi, who anytime someone runs past him, he throws himself on the ground as if he's been shot 37 times.
Yep.
We're talking about. Or who looks like he has just seen Michael Myers step out, onto the field because he's like so shocked that someone has run past the great Matuidi. Like this is, like, why? Look, come in and produce, and I have no doubts that Gabriel Heinze is going to be the guy who's going to be like, this guy produces, this guy does not, and he's helping. But if it's. I'm perfectly okay with the move.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. People call me a shill if they want. I've been critical of moves in the past.
Look, all that matters is how the performances go, and that's the part that we can't tell until you have games.
Correct.
You can make the right signing on paper and it doesn't work. You can take a chance on somebody and it works.
And the picture that some Atlanta United Fan TV has posted has him as bald, and I'm completely okay with more bald representation within the lineup. If he's shaving his head now, I'm completely okay with that. I need a bald representation. Let's make that happen. Have you guys heard about the new Inter rebrand?
I was going to ask you about that. What you thought?
Why are they doing this?
Okay, so a lot of the stuff with Inter Miami makes sense now. Okay, this is from AS English. Inter Milan to change their name and club crest in March. Now, changing the crest, not that big of a deal. Inter has a history of changing the crest. A lot of the clubs do, with varying levels of excellence.
Juve.
Comic book J. Inter will no longer be known as Internazionale as part of the rebranding, which they hope will make the club reach a wider, more international audience. According to La Gazzetta dello Sport, the Nerazzurri are currently in the process of changing their name and club crest, which they hope to announce in March. Italian media reports that the club has been working on their rebranding operation for some time. Not judging by the looks of that flipping crest.
Just hit the merry-go-round real quick.
Yeah. The name change will go from Football Club Internazionale Milano to simply Inter Milano. The club crest will also be simplified and feature the initials IM. Okay. Do I like red and black or blue and black?
I believe it is red and black, sir.
Yeah.
Correctamundo. Do I typically like anything at all to do with Inter?
That would be mostly no.
Mostly no. They have a pretty sweet crest. Their badge is very classy. I'm a big fan of their badge. I think it's just note perfect. And they are going to change it to a blue M with an I down the middle of it. That's it.
Yep.
That's all the logo is. It's in the same.
Almost right on cue. Racing Club has tweeted out that Racing captain Lisandro Lopez will give a press conference at the stadium tomorrow at 12:30. There's your
Merlot from
Bang.
deep.
Keep going on Inter Milan.
Yeah. So for those who have followed Juve for any period of time, you remember they had that beautiful oval crest. It was an awesome crest, and they changed it to that stupid comic book J. It's like they got the guy.
J.
It is. It's like a J. It's like a little. It's like something out of a comic book. Yeah.
Evening Bandit.
Yeah, Evening Bandit. But I don't understand why there's the need to do the full stupid rebrand. You have a club name, and here's why the name is important. If we go all the way back to fascist Italy, Mussolini says we're going to he wants to do a complete remake of the country. The town that my great-grandfather was born in, Giare, in Sicily, he said, nah, that's too small of a town. We're going to combine it with another town, and you're just going to be called something new. And they did the same thing with all of the clubs in Italy. They started combining clubs left and right. The two clubs that really fought back against this, shockingly, Lazio and Inter. And they kept trying to call Inter something else. And Inter fans were like, no, we're not going to do that. And they're like, no. The government, like the dudes with guns are telling you that you're not going to call this Internazionale anymore. And they're like, nah, fam, we're still going to call it Inter. So do something. And it really was a line in the sand that the government realized there are certain lines people are not going to cross. And that's why, even as a diehard Milan fan, I think it's very stupid to change that name. There's history with that name, legitimate history of standing up to authoritarian governments with that name. The name itself it signifies when the club of AC Milan split, because the AC Milan locker room wanted all Italians. And the Inter side, all the guys who were from Argentina and Brazil and all these other places, said, okay, we're just going to do our own thing then. And they broke away and formed their own club. There is history with Internazionale. There's something with that. And it breaks my heart that we are allowing some fly-by-night marketing firm to come in here. And I'm sorry, if the club has been around since what, like 1907. Why? It's like changing the Ford oval, like the blue oval with the script Ford in the middle. It's them. That's who they are. You know, it's the Chevy bow tie. There's certain brands you just don't mess with, like Barcelona. You're not going to mess with the branding of this. Flipping Barcelona. What's wrong with you? It's the same thing with Inter. Why are you messing with this? Inter Milano, not Internazionale? What do we think Inter stands for? Draw a line in the sand. If I'm one of the ultra groups on this, man, there are problems for that board, and not to mention the club's in financial trouble anyway. So, and they're getting rid of Pirelli, the longtime shirt sponsor. They're going to Evergrande that's going to be coming in and allegedly taking the place of Pirelli, the famous tire company. It just blows my mind that they're blowing up so much history here because they look up the road at Turin and they see what Juve's done, and they think, oh, well, it worked for Juve, it'll work for us. No, your logo's going to look stupid. It's classy, it's clean, it's Italian. It's so Jerry Seinfeld said it best. Like, they were driving like a new Fiat, and like a comedian gets in the car. He's like, "Wow, the inside of this car looks really sweet." Like how much? Like, why do you think like they can do this? And like Jerry Seinfeld kicked off this thing. Goes, that's why you pay so much for these Italian cars, is because there's some guy in Italy who's like, I'm going to put these completely ridiculous things together and it's going to look golden. I guarantee you an Italian did not come up with the flipping logo that they came up with. It's somebody in Los Angeles or New York who said, I think you're going to have great brand penetration if you just make an I and an M and simplify this logo. No.
Well, let me explain something to you three cartoon characters.
Yes. Thank you, Nature Boy. Kick them back. Not every club is
This
Venezia.
just can't go well.
No. Look, Venezia didn't have a brand stateside. Venezia didn't have a brand. So you could hire a designer out of Philly to completely redo your whole image. Beautiful. And they have the greatest freaking kit in Europe right now. That away kit for Venezia is, and I own it. But to mess with something like Inter is just stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you're an Inter fan, chime in on the Twitch pitch. I need to know.
I'm with it.
How am I defending you? How is the AC Milan fan defending Inter's history right now? I need Blue and Black to chime in on this.
So, but this then makes everything that goes here.
Oh, yeah.
It makes it all make sense.
Yes.
Because this is where they were going with it. Because the argument before, and this was my argument, was that they're Internazionale. You have Internationals all over the world. You have other Inters. Inter Miami is Inter Miami. It's always Inter Miami. You're not calling them Inter. Even to the point now that if you notice, if you're paying attention to articles about Inter Miami, they don't shorten it. In articles, you reference the team in the full way the first time, then you'll shorten it to whatever the colloquial thing is to shorten it to. It's not being shortened to Inter anymore. It's always Inter Miami.
Correct.
Well, if it was Internazionale, Milano, and Inter Miami, there's not really a whole lot of confusion there. Oh, wait, they're rebranding to this, and they had the trademark for Inter, and now they're rebranding to this, so they will be going by this officially, so this is why they're fighting it.
Yeah.
Now it makes more sense.
Yes, it's completely stupid. There's some things you just don't need to mess with. If you're a club with a very problematic brand like Lazio, then by all means, change whatever you need to change to get it right. I understand that the historical deal with Lazio is the actual name of the flipping province. So I'm not, I'm not saying, change it away from the province. What I'm saying is, you have something that you don't really need to mess with. And there's minor tweaks and there's a complete rebrand. And this is not a Bob Iger rebrand. This is like somebody in New York who has no remote concept of Inter's brand, their history, their identity, nothing. And they just handed it to some designer who just wrote I am on it.
And they probably got paid six figures for about 9
money.
seconds worth of work.
Stupid money. It looks like something. I went to the Art Institute of Atlanta, and it looked like something we handed a first-year design student.
Or somebody tried to pass to Joey Saputo for what they're doing in Montreal.
Pretty much.
No, I like that logo. Stop talking trash about that logo.
I'm talking the old one. I'm talking the I and the M. I'm not talking about the snowflake with the M's and the folks in Bloomington, Indiana, getting all mad because it looks somewhat similar to their circular crest.
Yeah, it's mine. But I wish somebody would have done their research on that name and how it was the drawing line in the sand against the fascists.
See, but but that to me just means that they didn't do their research. They didn't know what they were doing. It was sourced outside of the normal purview of what you were looking for something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, let's just do this. You know,
it's really going to help.
You're going to sell so much stuff. It's going to be amazing.
Right.
But it's crap, so you're not.
No.
All right, couple interesting things keep popping up here. Gustavo is very happy because Racing fans are broken, he says. Remember, Independiente and Racing despise one another. And Racing fans are sad, so Gustavo, as an Independiente fan, is happy. Both clubs are having issues at the moment with different things. Racing is a mess, a total mess, so it's not really a surprise that somebody would be trying to leave, like Lisandro Lopez. Golazo Argentino, which is one of the best sources for Argentine coverage in English. They follow up on multiple people are reporting. This is all over the place in Argentina right now. And, of course, nobody saw it coming. The tweet, I'm assuming it is from Peter Coates. For the Atlanta fans wondering why they'd be getting Lopez in, best not look at just his goal output. And there's a video from the last match that Racing played in the Copa Maradona where he scored. He said he added a lot more. It's not just goals you're looking for here. And he said clearly his iconic status at Racing means the younger players look up to him and learn, but he is also still provides a lot in the build-up phase. A very intelligent player is what you're looking for here. So this is a big deal. This is not an average 37-year-old player signing here. It won't be a big deal to a lot of Atlanta United fans. It won't be a big deal to a lot of American soccer fans. It'll be like, all right, yeah, whatever. It's a big deal because it looks like it's a one-year contract as well, according to Herman Garcia Grova, who's with TIC. It's a big deal because of some of the things that we talked about earlier, with John talking about the leadership, the veteran presence. You know, to have that guy who can come in and not be asked to play every match, but be able to show up in the big moments. And that guy who I think helps somebody like Gabriel Heinze get across his ideas. Because Heinze is not in the locker room. You know, is Lopez going to come in and be the captain? No. But is he going to come in and be a leader and an immediate presence in this locker room and with this group? Yeah, he will. Mm-hmm. Your Argentines, your South American players are going to look up to him. He's going to be a player that they look up to. A player like Joseph is going to look up to him.
Yep.
And you're going to learn from these kinds of players. So to be able to add them on a year contract, again, it's a luxury move, and it's a move to be in a position to win now.
Yep.
But it's going to get a lot of play in South America. It's going to get a lot of play as well because Racing is a little crazy at the moment. We talked about it with Sebastian Becasese leaving, with Milito leaving before that, the sporting director. There's a lot of talk that Hernan Crespo could be the guy who comes in at Racing. He's still got a little bit of business to take care of in the Copa Sudamericana final this weekend as Defensa y Justicia plays Lanús. But Crespo could be the next guy. It feels like a changeover in eras at Racing, and when that happens, sometimes your legendary players go. Lopez will be a big deal in Argentine media, a big deal to Racing fans. The Independiente fans like Gustavo will be happy because the Racing fans are sad. But it's a big signing that we talk about the young guys turning heads. This is going to turn heads. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, he's leaving Racing. He was in the Libertadores, and he's a legend here, and he's going to Atlanta. Why? Oh, yeah, Gabriel Heinze. Okay, yeah, okay. He's bought into it too. Okay, yeah, this must be a big project. big. It's a big deal.
Big deal.
I like what I'm hearing so far. I'm not hearing anything that makes me second guess this move at all. So,
and Gustavo's also happy because Racing has lost its sporting director, its coach, and its most important, its most valued player in just a few weeks.
Wow. More on the Enter rebranding. Apparently, it's because they are moving away from just being a sporting club and apparently are working on becoming a media company as well. All right. That's a global media company is what? This is according to Siempre Enter. So Siempre Enter is, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Good luck.
What a plonker.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
That ad firm, it definitely gets plonker status. Can I bring in a piece of news that might I guess that could be somewhat self-serving if it happens by midweek?
Go.
Okay.
Wales Online. Swans are poised to make Jordan Morris their second signing of the winter window, having already brought in goalkeeper Ben Hamer from championship rivals Huddersfield Town. Swansea have agreed terms with Seattle Sounders and Morris himself and are thrashing out the final details with Major League Soccer chiefs. The 26-year-old attacker is expected to pass a visa check, and having had an endorsement from the Football Association of Wales, it is hoped he will fly to South Wales on Wednesday. Score! Yeah, Mike Conti.
So, as you're on the Swans Trust, are you not? Yeah, there you go. That's what I was looking for. As a member of the Swans Trust, a key component of this transaction going down. The official comment from John Nelson is "Woo!"
You still yelling at Mindy Kaling now?
Yeah.
What? What is it? Come on, she's investing.
So wrong.
Wow.
But what this does, if this comes to pass by Wednesday and everything starts in the machinations, looking forward to seeing how he is up top, looking forward to automatic promotion, and the possibility, let's just think about it, that maybe Mindy Kaling opens up the wallet a little bit, and they might want to hang on to Jordan Morris if Swansea City ends up in the Premier League next season.
Fans.
And I will buy the Jordan Morris gear when it goes on sale.
Do you get a discount as a member of the Swans Trust?
That's an interesting thought. I think I will play that when I go to the leisure wear section of the Swans online store. I'm going to sit there and go, dog. I if it was in a frame, I would pull it. I got my Wimbledon one right here, but
yeah,
if I could, maybe it's like Swans Trust, overseas, a little love, and show it right there. Looking forward to it. So,
do you get a card or a coupon or something that showcases that you are indeed a member of that you're not just merely saying it?
You get your yearly renewal. Wimbledon sends you a card every year in addition to all the others. Wimbledon sends you a card. The card is up against the refrigerator magnet. Has it stuck right there on the fridge. The yearly, as a matter of fact, we have our AGM coming up in just a little bit to discuss things. So maybe we can discuss Jordan Morris at the next AGM. Woo!
Look at that. Nature boy.
Modiflow's telling you to relax, John.
Rolex. There you go. John, tell them about the Rolex watches.
Limousine riding, jet flying.
That ain't no Rolex.
No, this ain't the Rolex.
Casio win.
This is Fitbit wearing change, brother.
New Balance wearing.
Or new athletic wearing.
Facilities for that, big man.
New athletic wearing, Fitbit toting, checking my calories watch, brother. That's what this is.
No. A couple more quotes. Clarín in Argentina has a little bit about Lopez. 12:30 press conference, as we said. The president of the club, Victor Blanco, told Clarín, "We cannot ask for more. He came and gave everything." President's also the player's father-in-law, who was married to his daughter, Mercedes. They have a baby. The Lopez family will settle in North America. Racing will give him the free pass, like I said. So there's not going to be a transfer fee involved here. Lisandro communicated his decision to Blanco. There was surprise. People did not expect this to be the case. Wanted him to come in and be a big part of setting the direction of the dressing room with a couple other veterans there. Let's see, what else? Anything else here? A lot of it, it's just all the departure of things. Diego Milito leaving. This is going to be difficult for Racing to overcome. Again, Gustavo's very happy, so there you go. But, it looks like he is one of the reasons he wants to do this is to settle in the United States. He wants to move his family here and settle here long term. So very interesting. I wonder if he would end up, maybe not as an official player coach, but fulfill some of those roles. And, kind of nice for a 15, 16-year-old striker in the academy to be able to sit and chat with Lisandro Lopez, who's played in some of the biggest clubs in the world. Not bad.
Not terrible.
I like how this checks a lot of those boxes. How it just sits there and it's like, okay, veteran influence, younger guys can learn. Wants to be brought in. You bring him in because he's one of those guys that Heinze can count on for certain situations. Wants to win a championship. All of these boxes are getting checked here.
Yeah, the one thing to keep in mind is he's played a lot over the last few years. So, he's 37, going to be 38. He's played a lot. So it's not like he's not been playing much. He's been playing. He's been producing, as we said, 17 goals in not the last full season, but the season before that. So he's still got it. And it's not just the goals either. That's why I do think there's going to be situations where you see him and Joseph on the field together at the same time.
I'm down with this.
So 12:30 Eastern or is 12:30 local?
12:30 local.
Same?
They're not giving you the Eastern time.
Okay. So.
All right. Other news from Serie A. Torino have sacked Marco Giampaolo, pretty much bringing a conclusion to one of the most insane coaching career collapses that I've ever seen. Now, it went from having a ridiculously potent Sampdoria team, becoming the manager of AC Milan, flaming out so quickly, and then flaming out yet again so quickly at Torino.
I'm noticing a trend.
Yeah, it's not even. This is it is. He was projected to be the next big management thing in Italy, one of the bright up and coming younger managers, and along with Eusebio Di Francesco, there is really nothing positive to talk about on that end at the moment. So, if you're Marco Giampaolo, just leave Italy right now, bro, or go work for a Serie C team and call it good, because that is Torino now in the relegation zone along with Parma and Crotone. Parma under American ownership. I would love to get Mr. Krause on the horn and have a conversation about what he plans to do on turning that thing around, because they are currently 2 points out of safety. Not a lot of good going their way at the moment.
Just survive right now. Just stay up so you can actually make some changes. Because didn't he get control after the summer window, if I remember right?
Right.
Yeah. So he wasn't able to really do anything there. It's the January window. There's only so much you can do. Yeah. Just survive. Get to the summer, then you can actually create a plan.
I would like to let Mr. Krause know that in the city of Atlanta, there is currently a certain Argentine player who I believe has dual citizenship. He's dual citizenship eligible, if I remember correctly, and currently sporting a bleached out hairdo.
He is.
And I think he could be available for the right price.
Yeah, I don't know about the citizenship thing, but
$15 million. I thought I read somewhere that he had the. Whenever the rumors with Fiorentina first kicked up.
It's possible. It wouldn't be a surprise, but I don't remember seeing that, but you might be right.
Yeah, so keep in mind for Italian, the reason why I bring that up is because for Italian dual citizenship, essentially if the immigrant from Italy to said new country never renounced their citizenship, then or lost it through naturalization in another country, Italy simply views you as being born in the wrong place. So if and for a lot of people from Argentina, a great many of them left the Genoa area and went down to Argentina. A lot of them did not necessarily become citizens of Argentina. They were just there. They had kids. The kids were became citizens of Argentina, and so forth. So there's a lot of Italian dual citizens down in Argentina. I mean, just look at the name, Abondanzieri. I mean, one of the famous goalkeepers from the national team. I mean, come on, you can't escape the Italian roots on that one. So if that's the case, Parma could do a heck of a lot worse than signing that kid up. So. Just call me, Mr. Krause. I mean, I'm sure we can work something out. We can work some deal. We get on Zoom. We'll make some calls. I think about 13 million. We can make something done. 13, 14 million. I'm not budging off that price.
Yeah, you might want a little bit more than that. We haven't talked about the moves that MLS teams made today. There are no more managerial openings. DC United, Hernan Losada, who started his career at Independiente. He is now the new man at DC, 38 years old, only a little bit of coaching experience. He got a team promoted from the second division in Belgium to the first, and they're holding their own. They were doing fine. They didn't look like a traditional promoted team. I think they were mid-table. So see what Losada can do in DC, and then the one that's getting all the attention is one that we knew was coming, has been rumored for a while. Phil Neville is now the manager of Inter Miami. How did that conversation go with David Beckham getting Phil Neville to take the job again?
Phil, we have ourselves a wonderful position here in Miami. We can have you come in and my wife was a Spice Girl, and we can have you come in and I know you were used to coaching, but a certain level. But I'm not going to fire you for any reason whatsoever. You can totally lose every game. I'm not going to fire you. You're my mate. You're my number one mate. I'm not firing you. But the Mars brothers may fire you because I don't really have control of any of that. I'm just a figurehead who shows up in front of the cameras at appropriate times. Okay, here's my watch. Buy my brand. Bye bye. That's essentially the Beckham conversation right there.
He ends it like he's Mary Poppins.
Yeah. He shows off the watch or whatever thing he's hawking at the moment, and then he's on his way.
It's his way of distracting from the situation at hand. He sits there and he talks about his brand as he's walking off stage instead of talking about the substance of the issue.
That's right. I have me Beckham watches, and of course Phil will be wearing the Beckham special edition vest over his suit jackets that he'll be wearing for about the first 25 minutes of a match.
That vest's going to get hot in Fort Lauderdale, though.
Yeah,
he's going to discover the hard way.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. That's not going to be a good look.
That's not going to look pretty on a lightly colored shirt in the middle of July.
He's not. He's gonna come out with like the SPF 97 white face paint on,
or like right on only on the nose.
Right, correct. And then he's gonna have the giant sun hat going on as well.
The Brockabrella.
That's right. Exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen. Who's the coach for Orlando that had that going on during all the practices? It looked like he was allergic to the sun.
Man, yes.
He had like the neck. He had the full neck gaiter on. He had the big like tropical sun hat thing. It was huge. I mean, it was like beyond shoulder length. He had the full sleeves and the gloves and like the white. It looked like the island of Dr. Moreau.
O'Connor.
He had like the full white,
O'Connor.
Yeah, O'Connor. Like that's essentially. He's just going to call up O'Connor and be like, "Hey, mate, can you lend me some of your outfits here?" And that's going to be. He's going to get it's going to be like a tub that he's going to get sent in from like the Sherwin-Williams.
So will Phil Neville tan, or will he just be bright red or very pasty? Will he actually develop a tan?
No.
Chernobyl.
It's gonna be pretty. He's gonna be pretty red.
Yeah. I don't because see, look, I want to know how much time in the tanning bed Beckham spends.
Beckham pulled it off. He was able to adjust to tanning.
Yeah.
He was not your typical one.
Yeah. So Neville, I think I don't foresee Neville making the appropriate adjustments. I think he's going to walk out. And
he's still gonna have the long sleeve dress shirt. He's still gonna have the vest.
Right.
So it's gonna be uneven. I mean, it's gonna be like here and here.
About that color.
Yeah.
It's gonna be something about that.
Yeah. That's the back of his neck.
Yeah. Can foresee that action.
Am I the only one who is not expecting this to be a complete disaster? I think I am.
Disaster.
Why?
Disaster.
But tell me why, John, because everybody's just like, oh, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible. Nobody's actually really given reasons.
No.
I don't think the product on the field is good enough to survive a learning curve, or it's not good enough to survive any sort of uncertainty on the manager's behalf. I think that there are some clubs that can survive it and have the leadership on field and in the locker room to weather that storm. I don't see any of that with Inter Miami. The Hamburglar and Matuidi will detonate that locker room.
They're going to want to do their own thing.
Yes.
And I just think that it's going to be a clash of ideals here where you're going to have the European stars come in and they're going to want to handle things their way. And Neville's going to come in. He's going to want to do things his way. And I think you're just going to have this clash of philosophies.
The European stars being an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else is talking about the European stars being an issue. Everybody's talking about the Argentines because I guess Argentines and English coaches just can't get along, is what everybody assumes.
Well, the Faroe Islands were a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah. Byrne thinks the tactics for the Lionesses weren't good, so they had more talent than they showed. I think he got them to a point that they hadn't been before. Yeah, they were having more talent coming through. But I thought he did a good job with England's women. Now, this is going to be a different job. This is going to be a completely different job because the national team job is different. We talked about this with Jill Ellis. The difference here is Phil Neville had a career at the club level and played at a high level at the club level. Jill Ellis has never had a club career, so different conversations. I wanted to make that clear. Neville has not managed like this at the club level, and that will take some getting used to. But here's why I think the takes on, Hamburglar is going to be a problem, or LGP is going to be a problem, or whoever you want to say is going to be a problem. This isn't a typical situation. It's not like Phil Neville's just a guy off the street who took the job. He's Bex's boy. Bex owns the team.
Yeah.
Who's going to go?
Bex owns the team?
Well, he's one of the guys who owns the team, yes. Does Higuain own the team?
No,
who's going to get shipped out?
He probably has a lot more clout than he actually does.
He doesn't have more clout than David Beckham. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is not like a random guy. This isn't Diego Alonso. This isn't Frank de Boer. This is a guy who was brought in specifically by one of the owners. I don't think it's going to be a quick hook. So the thing.
Oh no! He's going to have to be caught into a major scandal in South Beach to get fired by his boy. I'm not saying he's going to get canned.
Yeah.
Year one. I'm just saying it's going to be a disaster year one because of all the issues that we talked about.
I don't think it's going to be a disaster. I think they need a year, which they should have had this year, to actually build and put together a coherent team. They haven't.
Right.
The hire that is the best hire they made is Chris Henderson.
Yes.
Chris Henderson coming in a role underneath either the ownership or under somebody else. I don't know what that's going to look like necessarily. Essentially, as a GM, he understands the talent in the league. He's going to make good moves to upgrade that roster. It's going to take him a minute. It's not going to happen overnight. So especially this first half of the year for Miami, it's going to be a learning experience for everybody. The reason why I think Phil Neville can overcome that, and tactics will be a question. I agree with Bernd on that. Tactics will be a question, but I think what impressed me, and it's a different situation, national team, male, female, yes, there's lots of different elements that come into it. I believe it was the BBC who did it. They did like a behind the scenes with England. I think they're in qualifying for the 2019 World Cup. And they had a lot of like the team meetings and stuff like that. And I thought Phil did a really good job with the players, getting them to buy in, getting them to believe in themselves, like all those kinds of things, like not the tactics, but the leadership side. I thought he did a good job with that.
Yeah.
I think he'll adapt. Now, I want to see what his staff is, and that's going to be another big element. You know, like who, if he's not the tactics guy, who is? See, that happened with a lot of clubs, right? You know, Sir Alex Ferguson wasn't a tactics guy. He had somebody who did that work with him under his direction, of course. But you know, I want my team to play this way. Okay, cool. Here's how we're going to train. Here's what we're going to do. All right, we need to make this adjustment. We're having this problem. Cool. I've got the sessions. I'm going to fix this. Got it. He needs somebody like that. If he gets that move right, he'll be fine. Will it maybe take a minute? Will they maybe need to run some people out of town? Will they need to make some changes? Yes. But he's going to get that time where Diego Alonso didn't, others wouldn't. He'll get it. And he's got to make the most of it, but he's going to get the patience from the ownership that a lot of managers wouldn't.
Right.
Look, if you're interested in Inter Miami, just don't be shocked when this team looks radically different next year than it does this year.
Yeah, or in 2 years after this in betweens where you're ushering out the high priced talent that was brought in last year and that transition of them being sent out at the end of this season.
Correct. Yeah,
it's a good point
My concern is I just don't think that. I think the league has changed since Beckham was a player. The tactics have changed since Beckham was a player. And sometimes when we spend a lot of our time, you know, looking back, we can miss how things have progressed. And I think that maybe a manager who is a, you know, make you believe in yourself manager, that may have succeed 10 years ago in MLS.
I don't know if it's good.
I think you're going to get ran nowadays.
No, you need both. The other thing, though, is Miami is a team that can spend and do what Chelsea used to do. Have that talent where you just out-talent people. They can. They don't have it right now. I don't think that's what you should be doing, is just go get a guy who is a good leader but not a good tactician. That's not what I'm saying. I think that's where his strengths are. What good managers in that situation do who are young in the job, and he is, they realize what they don't know. Mm-hmm. If you have somebody who doesn't know that they don't know, you're screwed. If they know they don't know certain things and they hire the right people, you'll be fine. We were having this conversation about Arthur Smith at the Falcons today on 989. A lot of the talk about, you know, his assistants, you know, you're talking about Wade Phillips. You're talking about guys who are in their 70s because 38-year-old Arthur Smith in his first head coaching job might need one of those guys to lean on when things get hard, when things get weird. Different coaching setups entirely with American football. Yeah. But if he gets the right lead assistant, if he gets the right person there, he'll be fine. But he's got to know that he doesn't know those tactics. He's got to know that. Henderson being there on the front office side will be a big help for the roster build. Huge help. That's the biggest move here. Phil Neville will have the time to grow, but Chris Henderson is the big move.
Always surround yourself with people who are smarter than you.
Bam. Gentlemen, I have got to bounce. I have reached my limit.
I'm going to have dinner.
You have dinner. Jason, you go watch third level Argentine.
No, those games are done.
Soccer.
They're all over.
They're all done.
They're all done for the day.
It's 4-0 U.S. in the 87th, and we've got Monday Night Football coming up in Liga MX.
And note the detail on Jason's kit there. The two-stripe Dutch. The two-stripe, not the three-stripe.
Well,
the two-stripe
the rest of the team had the three-stripe, but Johan Cruyff, he was a rebel. He took a stripe off. He had the Puma kit. He had the Puma boots, not the Adidas boots.
That's right. And if you ever want to hear about a really twisted rivalry, the Dassler brothers. One, Adi Dassler, who founded Adidas, and his brother who founded Puma. We're talking about hiding people from Nazis. We're talking about ratting folks out. It is the nastiest business rivalry I think I've ever read about. That is your homework if you're out there listening, and by all means enjoy that one. I've got to bounce, gentlemen. You're bouncing, so until next week, you know where we're going to be. So just shut off the news for a bit. Take some time for yourselves. Focus on your mental sanity. Maybe tweet at some some people some positive things this week instead of some negative things. Just change the energy a bit, because we're all going to need it. Just letting you know. All right. So until next time, mucha Euro, y'all. Take care of yourselves, please. Wear the mask. My God.